Hi. Thank you for your time and agreeing to meet with me, talking about the potential problem I'm working on, which is glass waste and then how it ends up in our landfills instead of being properly recycled or repurposed. I'm here with EcoCycle Exchange, and we're on a mission to change that by introducing a circular, community-focused solution of glass waste. So our research shows, just a little bit of a backstory so you can get a better understanding. So our research shows that while glass is 100% recyclable, much of it ends up in landfills. This isn't just an environmental issue, but we believe it's a missed opportunity. We believe that the lack of convenient and effective ways for people and businesses to recycle their glass adds to that. In addition, many people and businesses may not know how to ensure their glass is reused effectively. What do you feel about that statement?
I believe that's accurate.
In what ways?
Well, I live in an area that accepts glass as a recyclable material, so luckily I have a source. I know the place that I work at doesn't allow recyclable materials for glass, so I think it would be a great business opportunity for my place of employment. But for the personal side, I know I can recycle waste, glass waste specifically.
Okay, so let's go ahead and start asking you some questions. Actually, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? You mentioned that your place of employment might be a possible interest. Go ahead and tell me a little bit about yourself.
I work at, I'm an environmental scientist there. I've been there for 17 years.
Excellent. So what does your role entail?
I wear several hats at this point in my career. Primarily, I take care of our division environmental aspects and needs, in addition to some other chemistry work within the lab.
Awesome. So actually, does that include recycling?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Just to get a little bit backstory of you, what kind of hobbies do you have?
Hobbies. I like hiking and doing outdoor activities such as camping and paddleboarding, fishing, fun stuff like that. I'm learning to ski with my beautiful wife. She's very patient and encouraging. I've only done 2 seasons, but I'm super excited for the next one.
Excellent. Okay, so thank you for a little bit of backstory. Let's go ahead and start asking some key questions I have for you. So what do you currently do after you finish any product that comes in a glass container?
I typically decide whether or not I could reuse it.
Okay, tell me about that.
So if I come to the determination that I can use it in some other way, I'll reuse it, wash it, clean it, and then reuse it in my home somewhere. If I'm unable to reuse it, then it goes into the recycle bin.
Okay, what type of glass do you typically have?
Beverage bottles. I love Topo Chico, so there's a lot of those types of bottles. I do get bone broth, and those typically come in similar to a mason jar style. So, for example, those jars I'll reuse because they're large. The bottles, beverage bottles, they're a little more difficult to repurpose for me personally.
Okay, thank you. What would make you consider an alternate way to repurpose glass waste?
I suppose if I was informed of other opportunities to recycle it differently, then I would be open to that.
Okay, and what would those opportunities look like?
I'm not really certain. It would just have to be availability, outside sources other than what I already am aware of.
Okay, what would make it convenient and easy for you to participate in an alternate way?
I would say if there was a pickup service or maybe a collection point that was nearby, I would use that opportunity to contribute to that waste stream or recycle stream rather.
Awesome, thank you. What challenges, or actually, what challenges, if any, do you find yourself having to benefit from participating in a glass repurposing or recycling?
I believe the benefit would just be knowing that the glass is actually being repurposed in some way rather than not knowing what's happening to the materials that I put into the recycle bin.
Got it. What role would you like to play in a sustainable community approach to glass recycling?
I believe I would participate in maybe community events such as a cleanup or bring in your material type of thing. Very Earth Day-esque.
Do you currently participate in any of those type of activities?
Occasionally when I hear about them.
Oh, and how do you typically hear about them?
Usually through social media or occasionally on a news story.
Do you belong to like environmental groups or?
I don't belong to any environmental groups, but we do have posts that are internal through my place of employment, which also includes things that are going on in and around San Antonio.
Oh, awesome. Where does your place of employment get that information from?
Well, that comes from, I guess, our media department, which is very small. It's literally one person. But
typically is.
But they're the primary source. So a lot of the information that's going out globally comes directly to that person. So they take all of the information and then create what we call a global post. And then that goes across the company.
Awesome. Well, that's really cool that they do that. Sorry, I just lost my place. I got distracted. What do your current sustainability habits look like?
Right now, I make sure to reuse containers as much as possible. Additionally, I limit the purchase of products that I know I cannot repurpose. So if the container itself is just not reusable in some way, I try to avoid purchasing those that I cannot reuse or recycle.
Can you give me an example of some of those products?
So I know that if I bought a box of cereal, for example, the cardboard and the plastic that's inside of it can be recycled. Let's say if I purchased something that had multiple layers, so something I don't purchase is individually wrapped candy. I'm not a big fan. But that itself creates a lot of waste because you have one large bag and inside of that one large bag are multiple tiny plastic or metal wrappers, aluminum wrappers. So to me, that's excessive waste and I wouldn't purchase that.
Thank you for that example. It's a good example. If your favorite restaurant had reusable glass packaging for your leftovers or to-go meals, would you be more likely to return?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I already use glass containers primarily for food storage, so that'd be a great idea.
Okay, can you tell me some of those restaurants like you would think would participate in something like that?
I'm not very certain off the top of my head what type of restaurants, but I would expect something like...
Or maybe your favorite restaurants.
I think a Whole Foods would be a great option because places like Whole Foods and Sprouts that have hot foods encourage reusable materials.
Excellent. Okay, so you mentioned where you currently reside that it does have recycling. So let's just say, would your community be interested in a membership program, or would you be interested in a membership program in addition to a service where you can earn incentives for participation?
I wouldn't be able to speak on the community's behalf, but I know personally I would be interested in learning more, and I think there is space in this community for those types of businesses or opportunities.
You mentioned there is space, so like what kind of space would you be thinking about or talking about?
Well, I know there's limitations when it comes to recycling and just waste management in general. Because the city of San Antonio is so wide, there are areas that are underserved. I feel like it's kind of dependent upon where you live and what vehicles you'd be able to utilize in terms of waste management.
Excellent. So now you kind of propped me into a different thing, but we can come back and circle back to that. So thank you for all this information. So you may have some follow-up questions, and I may have some follow-up questions for you. But let's go ahead and take a look at this visual.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and take yourself through this customer journey. I believe I gave you a copy. If not, let's go ahead and take a look at my screen right here. So let's go ahead and pretend you're this little stick figure right here. Can you go ahead and read this little comic out loud for yourself and see what you kind of deduce from that?
Glass litter's my favorite spots, but what can I do? Where to start?
Would you say that's how you feel? Actually,
Partially. I mean, if this is especially places I visit, that is definitely the case because if I'm in a place that whether I visit it regularly or not, there may not always be recyclable bins for those types of things.
Okay, let's go ahead and go to the next scene.
Oh, look, a flyer for EcoCycle. I'll follow them on Insta. Okay, so that makes me aware of this company called EcoCycle, and then I would be intrigued to follow them on social media just to see what their company is all about.
Okay, next scene.
I love EcoCycle. It's easy and rewarding. I can do this. So that just kind of tells me there's a simplified way maybe to utilize the recyclable glass and turn those recyclables into new products.
Great.
What happens to my glass and does it make an impact? So I think here I'm wondering, okay, what I mentioned earlier, actually not really understanding the full picture of what happens to my materials once they go into the bin. But I believe this company is making it a transparent endeavor.
Excellent. Next scene.
Glass is sorted and processed at our facility. We partner with local businesses to provide sustainable solutions. So this just tells me that EcoCycle is a company that collaborates with other businesses just to create a positive impact on the community and the environment.
Excellent. Next
is membership, please. So this informs me that there are membership opportunities with EcoCycle Exchange. So that would be something I'd be interested in learning more about.
Thank you. So of all of this, which scene would be most important to you?
Most important?
Yes.
I think learning about EcoCycle.
Okay, so learning about it would. Okay.
And probably also the impact that it would have on the community and the environment.
Because you said that. Oh, you did say that was a concern of yours, right?
Right.
So, what do you think currently happens to your glass?
I feel like it probably is just broken up and ends up in a landfill most of the time, unless there's a streamline for maybe specific type of glass to be reused or recycled in some way. I know recycling does happen, but I'm not exactly sure of the metrics, but I wouldn't be surprised to learn that more recyclable materials end up in the landfill versus actually being recycled.
Excellent. So, throwing this off, would your company or Southwest, could you see any use for recycled glass or crushed glass or any sort of materials, or that you would see that?
I think there's always an opportunity to source recyclable materials from the Institute. Maybe in some aspects we could utilize recyclable materials, but there are specific criteria that we need for chem lab resources that have to be metered in such a way that the glass is certified, in other words.
Gotcha. So what do you do with that broken glass?
It gets thrown away.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Do you have any questions for me?
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
I apologize. I do have one follow-up question. So now that you've seen what we propose to a solution, how much do you feel would be a good investment, a monthly investment?
If this was my personal money, not talking about not on my business or anything.
Personal money, not incident
personal
money.
money. I would say, $5 to $10, I think, is a reasonable amount of money to ask for this. Depending on the reach of the program, I would definitely consider doing upwards of 20 or 25. It just depends, what makes the most sense and how I can be the most helpful.
Excellent. Now that I have you here, let me review my questions one more time. And I believe that was one I missed because I got excited and distracted. Thank you so much.